So you guys know I love running the wheel strategy. It's my favorite option strategy. A lot of you guys are trying it out, especially you guys that are new to options trading. You're starting maybe with a small account size and you're looking for lower price stocks to run the wheel. And the problem with lower price stocks, many low price stocks are just not good companies. They're not companies I would want to own shares of stock in, for example, for the long term. So finding low price stocks to run the wheel on that I think are quality companies is a little challenging, but today I'm going to share with you 7 low price stocks that I think you should wheel in 2025. So let me switch over to my trading platform, and I've got this personal watch list I created a few years back for low price stocks. Now I haven't updated it in a few years, so some of these stocks are no longer low price stocks. If I'm sorting by price, you can see Apple used to be a low price stock. It's not really a low price stock anymore. Coin was well under $100. I want to say this thing was like a $50 or $60 stock when I added it to the list. Tesla was under $100, I think, at one point when I added it to this list. So again, this list I created a few years back. I need to update it and remove some of the stocks that are no longer low priced. But I'm sorting by last price, and I'm just going to pick out some stocks that I personally have run the wheel on many times in the past over the years. And I think these companies are solid companies. They're not companies that are likely to go out of business tomorrow. They're not meme stocks, and I think they have a bright future for the most part, all the companies I'm going to talk about today. Now, when I say low price stocks, what I'm going to focus on today are stocks that are under $100. That's kind of what I created this list originally for, is everything that was under $100 that was an interesting company to trade options on. So I'm going to start from the lowest price to the higher priced today. So the very first one that jumps out at me, a lot of these first few I would say are garbage companies. I really wouldn't trade Walgreens, Teladoc, Rivian, but this one right here, Cleveland-Cliffs, it's a $13 stock. It's a real company. It's a manufacturer, steel manufacturing company. Right now, steel is doing well after the election recently with Trump being elected. I guess they think the steel industry is going to do well under Trump because all the steel companies had a nice little pop. But Cleveland-Cliffs, it's a nice company. You know, it kind of trades in this, it tends to trade like in that $11 to $20 range, right? It just kind of trades in a range, but it really never goes anywhere. You can't really get hurt too much on a low price stock like this. For example, if you buy 100 shares of Cleveland-Cliffs, and what if Cleveland-Cliffs goes bankrupt? Let's imagine it goes belly up, which I don't think it would go belly up, but let's imagine it goes out of business. Okay, well, you're out, $1,300, right? If you buy 100 shares at today's prices. So it's a pretty safe company as far as risk. Also pretty decent liquidity in the options, really tight bid-ask spreads. I've run the wheel on this thing many times in the past. Typically, you just sell short puts on this, sell a few puts, 3, 4, 5, put however much risk you want to take, whether you got a really small account or a large account, sell a few puts in Cleveland-Cliffs. If you get a sign, well, it's a low price stock, take the shares and then start selling covered calls against it. For me, it's the very first company that jumped off my watch list here when I'm looking for a low price stock to wheel. Scrolling through the rest of this list here, another one that jumps out that I think is a good company long term, I'm bullish on, Robinhood. Good. I don't like the Robinhood trading platform, but as far as a company, they're doing well. You can see from the stock chart, and they've had a really nice year. So as far as running the wheel is a bullish strategy. I'd be fine running the wheel on anything that has a stock chart that looks like this. It's only a $30 share price right now, even though it's had a nice little run up from under $10 to right at $30. Still a low price stock. Options, very tradable. If I go into the 41-day monthly cycle here, very tight bid-ask spreads. 3-cent wide bid-ask spreads, so liquidity is great. So Robinhood is definitely one that I would have no problems running the wheel on. I also like running the wheel on companies that are futures plays. For example, if I wanted to play gold mining, but I don't want to actually do the gold futures, the GC futures, well, I could do some of the gold mining companies. The obvious one to trade is Newmont Mining. That's the biggest one, a $45 a share company, but Newmont Mining is one of the largest gold miners. So just wheel it. If you want a gold play, if you want some exposure to the gold futures, just play a gold mining company like Newmont. If you want exposure to copper, another great stock to play is FCX, which is right here. FCX is a $46 a share company, and it is a copper mining company. It's a really good proxy for those that want to trade copper without actually trading the copper futures. Going back to the watch list, a couple of other things that jump out at me as I'm scrolling down. I have no problems with Uber as far as a company. I'm long-term bullish on Uber. Uber right now is priced at $72 a share, so it's under $100 a share right now. I don't know how long it will be under $100 a share because, again, I think Uber has a very bright future. I have no problems holding shares of Uber for the long term, again, because I personally like the company. Now, that's not a stock recommendation. You guys make your own decisions, but for me, yeah, I run the wheel on Uber. I have no problem selling puts, selling covered calls. If I go into the options chain here, pretty tight bid-ask spreads, 3 cents, 7 cents, 6 cents. Some of the options spreads here get a little wide. There's some that are 10 to 15 cent wide, but pretty liquid options for the most part. Another great company to run the wheel on is this one right here, Nike. Now, Nike is beaten up badly, right? Nike was trading at $123 a share. Now it's trading at $75 a share. It's had a rough few months, but I do think this is temporary. Nike is a company that's been around forever, profitable company. It's going to be just fine. I would have no problems running the wheel on Nike, especially everything else I've shown you. You know, the stock charts looked kind of bullish. If you're one of those people that are wanting to run the wheel and be kind of a contrarian, you're looking for a stock that's kind of beaten up, and you're looking for something that you think is undervalued at the moment, I think Nike is a good play. Nike trading at $75 a share. I mean, that's an extreme discount. I have no problem selling some cash secured puts on Nike, and then if I get assigned taking the shares, I think it's a smart play. Looking at the options chain, liquidity, perfectly fine here. 4 cent wide, 5 cent wide bid-ask spreads as far as the at-the-money options. Some of the other ones get a little wider. There's no trading right now. I'm recording this on the weekend, so some of these options chains may be a little wonky because, again, the markets are not open, but liquidity is normally not a problem in Nike. Liquidity is also not a problem in Shopify. That's another company I trade all the time. I love Shopify as far as a trading vehicle. Shopify as a company, I think, has a bright future. Yeah, it's been around for years. I think it's going to be around for years into the future. I don't worry about this thing, for example, going bankrupt if I'm holding shares. I have no problem selling some cash secured puts in Shopify. If I go to the options chain in it, the bid-ask spreads on this are a little wide, 10 to 20 cent wide bid-ask spreads. Again, I'm recording this on the weekend, so that could be just the factor of the fact that the market is not open right now. But overall, Shopify, again, another one of those companies that I really like, that's low priced, under $100, and I'd be fine running the wheel on. So there you have it, 7 stocks that are under $100 that for me, I have no problems running the wheel on. Now, there's a lot of things in this list I would not personally run the wheel on, as far as I don't want shares of stock. I would never want to be assigned shares of stock in a lot of these companies. I'm going to highlight a few just because some people really do wheel these companies, and I think it's a mistake. Again, this is not recommendations, but hey, you make your own choices. But for me, I know a lot of people like playing Walgreens. They think this company's so beaten up. It used to trade well over $100 and now it's under $10. You can see the stock chart. I mean, that stock chart looks like death. Do you want shares of stock in a company that has a stock chart that looks like this? For me, absolutely not. I would take this off of my watch list and I would forget this company ever exists unless it has some kind of miracle rebound. This is not something I want to play a bullish strategy in, which the wheel, again, is a bullish strategy. Well, Walgreens, definitely not something I'm interested in. I'm also not really interested in Intel. I know a lot of people want to be a contrarian with Intel. Intel, in the last few months, has gone from $52 a share down to $18 a share. Right now it's trading about $26 a share. I don't know what the future holds for Intel. I follow a lot of the tech news, obviously having a tech related, Linux related channel, the DistroTube channel. And then of course, Intel's a big chip manufacturer. I trade a lot of the chip stocks, and long-term health of Intel, I don't know about. I'm not crazy about any kind of long-term investment. I don't want to hold shares in Intel. So that's another company I would avoid. Another one I would avoid right now, just because it's made some big moves down, and a lot of people think it's very undervalued. Enphase Energy, which used to trade at like $300 a share or something crazy, here recently has fallen all the way to $65 a share. Enphase Energy, a lot of the energy companies that focus especially on solar are not doing well. They haven't done well in a while. They've kind of all been on the decline. I don't think the future is bright for them now that Trump is elected either. I'm just not going to do anything that involves me buying shares of stock in this thing. I really don't want to play any kind of bullish strategies in Enphase Energy as well. So that's another one. I think people get suckered into some of these companies like Walgreens, Intel, Enphase because they are so oversold. You know, a lot of people want to be a contrarian, but for me, those are 3 stocks I would just avoid. So there you have it. 7 stocks that are under $100 that I wouldn't mind running the wheel on. 3 stocks I definitely wouldn't run the wheel on. Again, none of this is recommendations. I'm not trying to pump these stocks. People ask me these kinds of questions because I typically don't tell you guys what to trade as far as underlyings. I don't do that. That's not a responsible thing to do. But only the fake gurus and the scammers actually try to pressure people into going and trading certain underlyings, and I don't care if you trade any of the underlyings I just talked about today, but I just wanted to share my opinion because people have asked. Now, if you want to learn more about the wheel strategy, check out my book, The Super Wheel Option Strategy, available on Amazon. You'll find a link to this book in the description below. Also, if you want to help support the channel, consider subscribing to the DT Options Discord. I hang out there for the first hour of each and every trading day. I share my trading platform. You guys get to see what I'm trading. You guys can ask me questions, for example, about good low price stocks to run the wheel on. Whatever questions you have, ask me questions about the Greeks, Delta, Theta, Vega, anything that maybe you need help understanding or you find confusing. You guys can share with me what you're trading because I get to learn from you as well. We've got a nice little trading community over there. You'll find a link to the DT Options Discord also in the description below. Peace.